Welcome back to another class of Python for app development. In this class, I'm going to be showing you everything to get you started and to know about page layout. Well, this is the last class of this section of this course where we learn about all the layouts and views. And after this class, I'm going to get into more diverse and also how you can make your layouts or make your widgets and also make your app look a lot more better. Okay, so we're going to go through them step by step. And in this class, it is going to be quite short, but you should also practice along with how you can use these commands and codes to actually structurize your console or your app. So make sure to not skip any part. And without any further ado, let's open up PyCharm and start on with our coding. As you can see on my screen, I have opened up my KV file. So the first thing which you need to is that we are going to be working on our, let's say, presentation or how it looks like inside of the console. So if we basically play it out, you can see this is how it should look like, but we want to make a page view or a page layout. So what does it basically do when you create a page layout? So you can see that we have created ourselves, let's say, a stack layout, which is over here. We also created ourselves a grid layout. We also have created ourselves an anchor layout. Then we also have box layout. And at the bottom, we have our main widget. So we're going to present all of them inside of our console and inside of our app. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, if you basically use these type of layouts, it's basically not going to work because it's only going to represent one of them. Okay. So if we want to represent all of them, we have to use our page layout function. So for that, I'm going to create a couple of space over here. There we go. And here I'm going to start off with my page layout function. So if I put in page layout, I'm going to put in example. And obviously we are trying to like change the visualizations of our page. So I'm going to put all of them inside of my KV file or the KV file, which we are basically interlacing with our main PY file. So if I put in the page layout, as we are not going to be using any part of our main PY file, so we have to use the @ and then we have to define our, let's say, definition. Well, the definition is going to be named page layout example. You can just put in page layout and that is basically it. Put in a colon. And here we do not want scroll view example. So here I'm going to put in or replace it with our page view. So we have our page layout example. Okay, so we have our page layout example and then we're going to move on with our other examples which we have over here. You can also put in a scroll view example. That's also totally fine, but we have to define what we want inside of our app. So let's just say I'm going to put in the other values or the other definition because we want all of those other things which we've done inside of this page layout. So let's just start off with our first one. Let's say I want my main widget. And then the next definition which I want is basically the box layout. There we go. And the next layout which I want is the anchor layout. There we go, anchor layout. Just put in anchor layouts. And the last one which we want is the grid layout. Okay, so we have all of these values inside. Now, another thing you have to keep this thing in mind. If you're using version 3.9, it will basically work whenever you are using the scroll view example too. But if you use the page layout example over here, and if you try playing it out, you'll basically see this is how it should look like, and you will not be able to scroll. So for that, you're going to put it into the scroll layout, scroll view layout. There we go. We have the scroll view layout. You can also like cut out this part over here. Now you can see we have this. I'm just going to put in scroll view, control C. I'm going to put it inside over here. And I'm going to put in scroll view example. Okay. So exactly that is what we want. And now you can try playing it out. And you can still see we are working on with our scroll view. Okay, so you can keep on going down, but you will basically still not find out the values which we want or the layouts which we want to work with. So for that, you also have to follow up some specific steps on how you'll be able to visualize it inside of your, let's say, page or the page layout which you are working with. So for that, what you basically have to do is start off from the beginning. Well, if you see this only, then one thing what you have to basically do is make sure to put example on each and every one of them. So let's just put in example. Now let's just put in example because sometimes it cannot use the definition. So basically you just have to put in the same keyword you use on each and every one of them, such as anchor layout example, box layout example. Then we also have this main widget, just the way it is inside of this definition. So now if we play it out, you'll basically see it's going to open up with an animation which looks like this. Okay. So then you can see as this is how it looks like. Now we can take this or drag it on the right side, and this is how it will work. Now, another thing you can see that this over here, it looks a bit different. It is because the page which we see over here, or the black part which we see over here, is basically not black, but it is basically transparent. So when I take it like this is how it should look like at the bottom. And if I just take another one of this, you can see D and E also appears up on the screen. If I take another one, this is going to show me the last page, which is grid layout. So this is grid layouts. And then we have is anchor layout. And then we have is the box layout, which is this one. And then we have our main widget. Now, if we want to like take this, Control X, and if I want to put it on the first page, we can also do that. Let's just take it over here, hit on tab. Now, if I play it, it's going to show me the grid layout at the beginning. This is how it should look like. But you can still see high and orange is still working as our main widget. So it's also going to be over here. If I take another one over here, if I can just bring that over here, and there we go, we have the box layout. And then the last one, which is anchor layout. Okay. So obviously when you're working with this, try to remove out the main widget. So if I remove out the main widget, it's going to show me 3 of these examples. So there we go. We first off have our grid layouts, and then we can move on to the next one, the box, and then we also have anchor. Now, if you want to work with the stack layout example, so I'm going to press on Control C, and I'm just going to paste it right over here. Stack layout example, play it up, and this is how it should look like. Starting off with the grid layouts, and then we're going to move on to the box, and then we have our anchor, and then we have this over here. But one thing you will see over here is that we are not going to have our scroll view because we have the other ones which are visible too. So this is basically all you need to know about how you can work up with page layout, how you can navigate through these. And another thing is that if you customize, maybe let's say we're going to start off with a grid layout example. So first I'm going to go down to the grid. And if I just put in 5 over here, it's also going to change inside the page layouts. And this is how it will look like. Another thing you can see, this is how it will look. If I increase up the size, it will show me the other pages too. You can see the other pages over here on the right side. If I take this is D and E, and there we go. We have 1 to a lot of numbers. Okay. So this is basically how you're going to be working with the page layout and how you'll be able to modify it just the way you want to. So any customizations you do over here will also take place inside of the page layout. So I'm going to show it to you again, like from the beginning. First off, what you're going to basically do is start off with the page layout. So type in page layout. There we go. That's all you need. Page layout example. There we go. Example over here. Put in a colon, put in 2 spaces, put in the definition. So I'm going to put in page layout example. Open up the parentheses, or you can close up the parentheses if you want to. If you don't want to, that's also totally fine, but you have to define it. Okay. So if you want to define it, then you just have to put in an @ over here. Then you're going to put in page layout example, but we're not going to be needing the example because we are already working with it. And then you can close off the definition, put in a colon, make sure to put in the spacing over here, and then put in the example. So I'm going to put in Control C. This is just as an example. So paste it right over here, colon. After each and every one of them, just put in a colon. Let's say stack layout, Control C. paste it right over here with another colon, hit on enter, and then let's move on to maybe box layout. If we already used it, let's move on to our next one. There we go. We have anchor layouts, control C. There we go. Put in a colon and try playing out the whole thing. And there we go. We have created ourselves a page layout. And this is how simple it is to work with these values or work with these facilities and also modify the page how you want to inside of your app. So hope you understood about everything, and also thank you for watching this video up till the very end. If you still have any confusion or any question about any part of this lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class. And this is basically the conclusion of the first section. From our next class, I'm going to show you how you can modify these buttons and how you can customize it the way you want it to be.